Back again for another episode of the Curva Chronicles. It's your co-host F17, aka Frederick Afrifa.
And it's your boy JK back again. It's been a sad week for football, man. I think it makes sense to start with obviously the tragic passing of Diego Jota and his brother Andre Silva. I yeah, I woke up that morning and I messaged you first thing. Like I saw there was obviously I'm in a lot of group chats where everyone loves talking about football, and they just sent the link and I opened it and you know these things you want to make sure that is true before you sort of spread it. But then I sort of looked and there were a few people slash newspaper mentioning it, and I was like, yeah, it looks like it's the real thing. But it it has hit me, man. It's a weird one. Not that I knew him or anything, but just the story behind it. Um, it's just sad, man. It could have been him. It could have been anyone else. Not a footballer, just a normal person or whatever. But his story as well as a footballer, just I don't know, very relatable, and it's very sad for his wife, for his family, and for everyone that knew him personally.
Absolutely, man. It's one of those ones that just hit you. And I think it happens in football. When you're a football fan and then these things happen, they just hit you more, right? Even though
Yeah,
you know him, you watch him. And there is this thing in psychology where if you constantly watch someone, it feels like you know him.
yeah,
Which is why it's so funny. I'm kind of on the other end of it now, where some people have seen The Apprentice and they'll see me in a supermarket, they're like, "Hey," and they kind of approach me like they know me, but I don't know them.
yeah,
So then it's kind of normal that we feel like this, and yeah, I think it's one of those ones that hates you, and it's been a couple days since the news, but it's still front of mind. Dude is similar age to us. He's just got married. I'm about to get married. He's got kids. He's there with his brother. So yeah, man. Our thoughts and prayers go to their families.
yeah,
It's just a reminder of how mortal we all are, man.
100%. As you said, thoughts and prayers to the family, and hopefully they find some comfort. Don't know if they're religious, but they find some comfort in their religion and their God, and hopefully they eventually somehow they manage to cope with this passing.
For sure, for sure. How have you been? We actually took a week off for the first time. How,
Yeah,
how have you
not
been?
too bad. It's been a busy week with work. A lot has gone on. Then I had a couple of days off, but yeah, man, not too bad. The weekend is here now. Can relax a little bit. We haven't spoken in so long. There's so much has happened in the Club World Cup as well,
Yeah.
and we haven't spoken since transfer market as well, especially in Italy. It seems like he's hotting up. A few names in the Prem as well. How about you before that? Anyway, how's
Yeah,
work?
I've been yeah, been good. I've been busy, been up and down, working. Book launch is going to be early August, so really exciting. Working towards that,
So,
and yeah, just got a few things happening next week. I've got a big, so I'm hosting an awards evening for the first time, and it's a big global diversity and inclusion event happening in London. People flying in, and to be fair, yeah, it's a bit of a spoiler, but it doesn't matter. No one's gonna watch it. Yeah, a celebrity, we'll just say a well-known celebrity is winning an award, and
right,
he's gone in,
right,
and he's in the movies slash music space. So we can probably guess who it is.
yeah.
But yeah, I look forward to it's a 50-50 that he's going to be there. But I'm actually calling him as the winner, so I really look forward to hopefully meeting him, and that'll be cool.
So movie slash music.
Movie slash
Can
music,
I say? Or
huh?
I mean, no one's gonna watch this. So
Yeah,
can I
exactly,
say
exactly, exactly.
Idris Elba?
Might be.
Might be. Okay.
So yeah, excited to hopefully. So that'll be good. So yeah, got some exciting things happening in July, and then
Yeah,
towards the end of July it calms down because June, July have been busy. But I know that with the work that I do, some periods are super hot, some periods are less hot. So while it's hot, we'll just keep it rolling, man.
Yeah. Plus September's a busy one for you, anyways, personally outside of work. So
Exactly,
you
exactly,
might as well just do all of the work now, and then hopefully you can chill a little bit.
exactly.
Well, I say chill, but
But yeah,
chill. You know what I mean?
exactly. I think August, September, I won't work that much, and then obviously Black History Month in October, so that needs to be
That'll
really
be
hot.
massive. Yeah.
And then November, December, and then tail end of the year, man.
Crazy.
Okay.
You know how I feel when we get to August, bro.
He has this philosophy, and it'll be interesting to know in the comments if you feel the same, or if any of you feels the same. JK has this philosophy that when it gets to August, because his birthday's in August, it's basically the end of the year, like the year's
It's
done.
the end of the
I
year.
always say, come on, man, there's still time. Like, nah, the year's done, man. It's August.
The year is finished, man. When you get to August, the year is finished, guys.
It's so funny. It's so funny, so funny. But yeah, let's start with the Club World Cup. First of
Yeah.
all, this has really exceeded my expectations in terms of entertainment. So, I gotta say, shout out to the Club World Cup because it's been pretty solid. And I did a prediction video that did pretty well.
Yeah, so
And back then, we actually didn't even have quarterfinals, like any quarterfinals. Now all the quarterfinals are set in even one semi-final.
yeah,
But we'll start with Inter because I said that Inter would lose to Fluminense,
yeah.
and that was right, man. What are your thoughts on Inter losing in the quarterfinals to Fluminense?
It's embarrassing, man. I mean, ultimately it's football, right? So anything can happen. And again, no disrespect to Fluminense. I don't really watch them, you know. Obviously, big fan of Thiago Silva. You know, love him as a player. Everything he's done for AC Milan as a person as well. And also, I really like these Brazilian players because they're really close to God and they're always. I don't know. I'm obviously a Christian and not that it makes me like them more, but I just like the way they're very open with their religion and, anyways, diversity. Um, we spoke after the Champions League and said that Inter was finished, right? And Inter are finished. I mean, they might be losing Dumfries. That's apparently he's got a
25 million release
crazy,
clause on
crazy,
Dumfries.
crazy. They might be losing Dumfries. Kivu, I'm so sorry, but it's too early in his managerial career to have Inter Milan, in my opinion. I don't know what he's going to be as a manager in 5, 10 years, but I think this might be detrimental to where he could go.
That's ultimately how it.
Obviously, it could go both ways, right? He might come in and surprise us next year, they win the league, and then come back on the pod and say, sorry, Kivu.
I
I don't feel like he's going to do that.
Yeah, I would say it's actually quite rare that club legends go in and actually end up doing really well when it's early on in the
Legends.
club legends, exactly. So like former players go back to the team where they played and they go in, and I don't think. Yeah. Also, what something that you didn't mention is that Chalanoglu is most likely going to go as well. Him and Taro
Galatasaray as well.
Martinez had a big argument, and
Oh, did he?
yeah, like Taro Martinez at the end of the game against Fluminense said, if anyone doesn't want to be here, they need to go. I'm seeing things I don't like. And then the president of Inter said, yeah, he was talking about Chalanoglu, and yeah, he said talking about Chalanoglu, and they had a bit of a falling out, and it looks like Chalanoglu might be going back to Turkey. And the team is just slowly dismantling. They bought
It is.
this guy from Parma, which I've seen a couple times. He's like a
The striker.
big striker, yeah, but nothing crazy exciting. I guess he'll be like Thuram's. What is it with Inter and buying strong black strikers?
I
What's
don't
going on
know.
here? What's going on here?
I mean, you gotta love it. You do have to love it.
I'll take it.
But yeah,
So yeah, I
yeah,
do agree with you that the signs are looking bleak for Inter
it's
Milan.
not looking good, man. It's not. I mean, I don't care, to be
I'm happy.
honest.
I'm happy.
In fact, I'm very happy. But I'm not happy for the Italian football because like in the last few years, Inter was becoming this European top club, and of course, I'm an AC Milan fan, and I love them to see them do it bad. But the sad reality is that if they go down, obviously Napoli are now they've done well in the league. We don't really know what they're going to do in Europe. If Conte leaves, I don't have very obviously he's staying next season, but if he leaves the season after, I'm not so confident they could keep it up. AC Milan is not really looking that strong. Juventus is not really looking that strong, and if Inter also go down, it's not really looking good for Italian football. So in that sense, I'm not so happy. But ultimately, I'm an AC Milan fan, bro. Every time Inter lose, I'm happy.
I agree. I saw that and I was just shaking my head like Inter, man. But there was another big shock on that side of the draw.
Man City.
Your Man City boys lost to Al Hilal. As
I
a
mean, I'm not really. If anyone's watched the game, like City should have won, right? They had so many chances, and in football, we always say, but if you don't finish your dinner, you're gonna lose a game, regardless of who you're playing against. So, in the sense of like footballing wise, I can't be mad because it's not like they were they got dominated, or I can't see positives in the performance. Also, to be honest, bro, I still don't really care about the Club World Cup,
of course.
and I think they got some money from it, which is good. Ultimately, bro, everyone say yeah, but you can get so much money from it. But as fans or people that follow them, we get nothing, bro.
Nothing.
So ultimately, it's best for them to come out, have 2 weeks off because they have had no break since the end of the season. Start fresh the Premier League and hopefully focus on that and can go back and compete in that. So, I think we saw quite a few new players for City looking very good. Doku is looking like this might be the season where he transforms into Sterling and start scoring a bit more goals. One on one, the guy is ridiculous. Like, I wish he played for Ghana. That's a conversation for another day. Um, and then, Xerxes set up Foden, so hopefully we can see that relationship like grow into the season. Reinders, I thought he wasn't going to do that well. And obviously, it's not in the Prem. He didn't play in the Prem yet. But he looked like he's got legs. Rodri's looking a bit shaky and he might be injured. But from someone that has come back from 2 ACL injuries, I think he's gonna need time, but I think he's gonna go back to what it was. So yeah, it's good for Saudi, But one thing I wanted to say is that yes, like this is a Saudi league team, but bro, you look at the 11s. These are all like people that played in top leagues in Europe. So it's not surprising that it's gonna be a challenging game. Cancelo, Milinkovic, Savic, you know, is not a nothing team.
I
So they
agree.
shouldn't be surprised that they're competing against City. Obviously, City should win, but it's still a good team.
So two things. I think the first thing is I still think it is surprising because even though they've got good players on paper, the level of competition in Saudi allegedly isn't very good. So it's very interesting, and I think it is quite surprising to see them compete, even though they just lost to Fluminense.
Yeah,
It was quite interesting to see them, and that was, I guess, one of the showdowns that I was interested to see is okay, how will the Saudis compete against the European teams?
yeah,
I think
but
there was an element of surprise.
I get that, but it's not Saudi players, bro. So like for example, if you play Al Etihad tomorrow, I think that's the team, yellow and black team. Yeah, you're playing against Benzema, Kante, Fabinho, bro. Like fair enough, they are not used to that competition anymore because of how the league is. By the way, I don't watch the league, so I don't know how competitive it is, but based on what we hear and we see, right? But you're still playing with World Cup winners. You're still playing with people that won the Champions League. Like they're still top footballers, bro. Like the way they go to training is still gonna be the same. Like I don't think only because it's a Saudi team it makes them any less. Do you know what I mean? If you play against Al Etihad tomorrow, it's still a very difficult team to beat because of the players they have. Ultimately, they are towards the end of their career, like your Kantes and stuff. It's not the Kante of old, but you can't go into that game and say, "Oh, this is a Saudi league team, so it's just gonna be an easy game." But that's not just the Saudi, like that's football in general, anyways. If you're gonna underestimate your opponent, half of the time you're probably gonna get slapped, bro.
Absolutely. Football's football, but we can't discount the fact that whether they got stars in the team or not, it's a team in the Saudi league. Because, for example, when the Chinese league were buying players, right? If Man City is playing against the Chinese champions,
Yeah.
Man City have vast
Yeah,
favourites
man.
going
No,
into
no,
it.
no. Yeah, of course. And I'm not taking, but it's different to back in the days in China, you get like one Oscar or one player in one team of full of Chinese players. Half of the time, bro, it was really like in Saudi, it's not really like that, bro. It's like these men are just buying anyone, and like you look at that Al no Al Hilal.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
You got Theo Hernandez going in next season. You got Theo Hernandez on one wing. You got Cancelo on the other wing, bro. Like it's not, like it's still a Saudi league. I completely agree, but the way these men are doing it is very different to what Chinese were doing back in the days. Chinese were buying one player to be the star of the Chinese league, and every team would have one. If I say every team, two teams will have one, if that. But I think this Saudi league, the way they're moving towards, is completely different to what we used to see with China. Obviously, not saying City should have lost that game. I think City should have won. But it's not a nothing team, in my opinion, anyways. Like, these
Yeah,
teams actually have good players.
I think so, but I think you're taking it to a different extreme when no one's saying it's a nothing team. We're just saying it's really surprising that they're able to meet Manchester City. And also because when we look at John Durant, right, because you're saying, okay, yeah, the players on paper are good. Let's look
Yeah,
at
yeah.
John Durant, who's gone to Saudi, and now he's actually getting shipped back out. He's going to Fenerbahce or to Turkey. So it's not, and even players like maybe like Sadio Mane, he's gone to Saudi, and so yes, on paper they do have names like Koulibaly, like Cancelo, like Theo Hernandez, but actually when we look at there must also be a reason why these players are out there for a large part of them. Like
The money, bro.
yeah, but
That's why they are.
also I think Cancelo, like when he was just about to go to Saudi, not many European teams were interested. Like Theo
Yeah, that's
Hernandez, not
because
many
of his
European teams are
character, right?
interested.
His personality, the way it is. I think a lot of clubs were not tired, but they didn't really want to deal with that, you know. But I mean, listen, I still think every European team should win against any of the Saudi teams, innit? I just don't think. I think the way the Saudi league is going is like in the next 5 years, we're just gonna see players that have played in Europe for years, players that we know that are good, and it's just gonna be that in Saudi. Whether that's gonna mean that Saudi is gonna be the new league, I'm not too sure. But I wouldn't be surprised if the first 11 are very look similar to a Man City or to a Arsenal or to a whatever, because that's what it's going because they have the money to do it and players are happy to go now. So
Some players.
some
Yeah, yeah.
some players are happy to
So
go.
as a City follower, you're not worried about this loss to Al Hilal.
Not really, bro. Not really. Um, I think I think it's good for them anyways, but I think they need the rest. I think the Premier League is more important, the Champions League is more important, and I think it's good that the new players got to play together, and then they can just focus on pre-season and go again.
Makes sense. I think on the other side, all the favourites pretty much won, so not too much to talk about there. Give your early predictions. The six teams that are left: Chelsea, Fluminense semi-final, one quarter final, PSG Bayern Munich, other quarter final, Dortmund Real Madrid. Early
For
predictions.
PSG,
Who's gonna win?
PSG, Real Madrid semi-final. Dortmund, Real Madrid. I'm excited because I want to see the Bellinghams play against each other.
The brother got two yellows, so he's disqualified. Yeah, which is a
I
shame.
didn't
Which is a
realize. I'm
shame.
not excited anymore. Um, but yeah, I think Real Madrid are better than Dortmund. Obviously, again, it's football; anything can happen. But I think Real Madrid will go through. I think PSG are too good. Bayern Munich is a good side, but I think PSG is going to win the whole thing.
You reckon?
And then I think Fluminense beats Chelsea, and it's going to be a PSG Fluminense fan.
Interesting. I think similarly, but I think Bayern Munich's gonna beat PSG only because Bayern Munich just strike me as that team that in pre-season generally do pretty well, and then PSG's had a really long year, and of course they want to win, but they've just won a treble, had a little party, so I could just see Bayern Munich just edging PSG, and then
I just,
see them
I just
beating
don't
Real Madrid.
think, I just don't think defensively Bayern Munich has enough for that PSG striking force, bro. Like going forward, it could easily be 6-4, 6-5, whatever, easily. But defensively, I just don't think they're good enough, and I think PSG defensively are really strong. So I don't know. It'll be a good game. Probably one of the best games in this Club World Cup. But I think PSG edge it. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I feel like if it was a normal season game, I would go for PSG because it's a pre-season and there's been a lot of upsets. That's the only reason I'm going Bayern,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
for similar reasons that I went for PSG to win the Champions League. To be fair, at the time, because Inter, I kind of thought Inter would do it, but I just went for PSG. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, it's going to be really interesting, and so far it's been a solid tournament, man.
yeah, 100%,
Your camera
100%.
is gone. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting tournament. Something else interesting that's been happening in the world of football is that Manchester United remains a mess.
Have you seen how many players have asked to leave?
Anthony, Sancho, Rashford, Garnacho, Malacia have all said, yeah, we're cutting. And Man United is also very happy for them to go. Now, the
Sorry,
challenging
bro.
thing.
One sec.
No worries.
I'm struggling here with getting the camera positioned there. Sorry.
So, yeah, Man United has had 5 players saying they want to cut. United is also happy for them to cut. Now, one thing that I've heard is that is this just a PR stunt for these players? Like Sancho, if you do want to get a team, then go and get a team. Like half your wages and leave. Because at the money that you're at the moment, no team in the world is gonna pay Sancho what United is playing right now. No team in the world is gonna pay Rashford what United is paying him right now. So
But I think they are aware of
or
that.
do they mean it?
I think they are aware of that. I think. Like I've seen that Sancho's been linked to Juventus and they've had conversation with his representatives, and I think, I mean, I, I think Sancho is better off going to Saudi now and just focus on the money, in my opinion, bro. Like he went to Chelsea, didn't really do much, you know. In the Bundesliga, he was this baller, like future star. But I've always said, bro, I just don't think he can do it in the Prem, bro. He wasn't physical enough, you know. Like all of these tricks, he works in a league where everyone's a bit slower, maybe. But in the strong league like the Prem, it just doesn't work out. Also, I don't know if the attitude is the right one. You know, obviously I don't see him train, so I can't speak for the attitude too much. But from what people have seen, and even the fact that Chelsea just sent him back to United, there must be something there. You know, Rashford, I think this guy is begging it for Barcelona to come and sign him, bro. I don't know if you saw that Williams is staying at Atletico now.
10 years, 10-year contract extension.
Crazy.
What do you think of that?
Um,
Let's not gloss over that. What do you think of that? Then we'll go back to United.
I think good on him because like he grew up there. His brother played for them. Is it's hard, right? He could have gone to Barca and it would have been a mad Barca team with him and Lamine Yamal. They played together at Spain. Obviously, I don't know what made him make that decision, but he said that when it comes to decisions like this, you need to follow your heart, and his heart told him to stay. If that is the reason why he stayed, I respect it massively because I think ultimately, like he's won something with Athletic Club, with his brother there as well. And if I was in his position and I could play for my club, like childhood club for AC Milan, easy to say that now because obviously I don't. But I think I would have stayed at AC Milan regardless of whoever else came for me. Again, easy to say that now because I'm not in that position. If Real Madrid came or Barcelona came or whatever, you know. But as of now, and now as I stand, and how much I love AC Milan, I would have loved to just make history with AC Milan essentially.
I think Nico messed up. I really think Nico messed up, man. Because I think 22 years old, he's given a lot to Atletico Bilbao. And you get the opportunity to go to a resurging Barcelona where you've got Yamal who's 17, you're on the left wing, of course Lewandowski's a bit older, but the midfielders are all young with Pedri, Gavi. And, you know, these are career defining moments. And yes, he's done and he's potentially going to do even more with Spain, which is amazing. But in a footballer's career, you get these opportunities that, you know, the days of the footballer thinking with their heart is gone, in my opinion.
But I don't think he's gonna stay there for 10 years. I think I saw the release clause is 100 million, bro. Like if he has another season and he's good, like clubs are gonna pay 100 million for him. It's, as you said, he's 22. Him signing the contract with Atletico Bilbao doesn't end his career because I think ultimately if he does well next season, someone else will buy. So I think
Yeah,
having that release clause in place helps him because I don't think 100 million is that much for him, especially. Obviously, he might go into next season and have a very bad season, and then no one wants him. Who knows? But then, you know, the thing with Barcelona that I find interesting is that yeah, Lewandowski is old, but Rafinha's had such a good season that is he sure to be starting on that wing and what then? So I think maybe that played part in it because he's not someone that is too young for him to be second fiddle to Rafinha. He wants to play at this age anyways, bro. If he was 27, 28, maybe he would have been happy to do that. But I think it's good for him to stay another year, especially if that release clause is what it's supposed to be. I think it doesn't really hurt his career, unless next season we see a very bad Nico Williams and then it
Yeah.
doesn't go.
The reason why I disagree is because, yeah, he might not stay at Atletico Bilbao for the rest of his career. But if, let's say, a Chelsea now signs him, an Arsenal now signs him, it's a very different thing. Nico Williams playing in the Premier League. We don't know how that's potentially going to go. And there hasn't been that many people that, will come from a Spanish league to the Premier League and then hit the ground running. Whereas if he stayed in Barcelona with supposedly his best friend Lamine Yamal, could have really built a dynasty there as a Spanish boy. Of course, he's gone in, but he's lived in Spain his whole life, and as a Spanish boy, I just feel like it was a little bit of a fumble, in my opinion. But yeah, good on him, and we'll see. That time will tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, let us know in the comments what you think. Do you think that what Nico Williams did was wise, and you feel like it's not going to be too detrimental in his career? Or do you feel like he fumbled the bag? It's going to be interesting to see. Yeah, my goodness.
Yeah, yeah. I hope he works out for him. Ultimately, time will tell, as you said. But I think is very different from the usual Spanish players we're used to. So I think he would fit well if Arsenal comes. I think that's a great signing for Arsenal and it's a great move for him because yes, the Barcelona project is really interesting, but the Arsenal project is also very good. So we'll see. As you said, time will tell. But I wish him the best, man. I think good on him that to follow his heart and stay at his childhood club.
Yeah,
Hopefully, he can win stuff with them. If
definitely.
not, then
Back to Man United though. Yeah, I just don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. Like Sancho is speaking to Juventus.
yeah.
Are these players actually on playing football? Because if you are, then you're going to be happy to cut your wages, find a team. But the
But then
people
we
are
haven't really
speaking
seen,
about it. I don't know.
apart from Juventus, obviously, I'm no journalist, but we haven't really seen much interest for Sancho. So yeah, he needs to cut his wages, but someone needs to come for him to be able to do
No,
that.
but I feel like it's the other way around. Maybe it's a chicken and the egg thing. But I feel like
Yeah.
teams aren't going to pay Sancho £15 million a year, so like to £17 million a year. So
But I think he's aware of that though. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't think because especially if you're gonna take a step down, I guess not in terms of quality of football because I mean United, you know where they are. But like if you let's say you go to I don't know West Ham or something, they don't have 50 million to give you. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, I don't know how the conversation goes, right? I don't know if it's a thing where they speak to Sancho first and they're like, this is what we can pay you. And then once he agrees, then they get in contact with the club. I don't know how it works. But I think ultimately he knows that wherever he's going to go now, unless he goes to Saudi, he's not going to get that money, bro.
that's my point. So that's why I feel like these managers talking. Because you have an agent, bro, whose
Yeah.
full-time job is to sort out your footballing career. So
Yeah.
you're telling me your agent, like you said, we've only heard he's linked to Juventus. Like, if you were really trying to find the club, in my opinion, by now there'd be more rumors, or you would have signed. Like we can see, for example, the Jonathan Davies thing with Juventus. As soon as we heard about that he's going Juve, 2-3 days later he signed. Like if you're actually on it, and we look at Garnacho, don't know where he's going. Look at Sancho, don't know where he's going. Anthony might be going back to Betis, I don't know. But I just feel like these ballers, like if their actions speak louder than words, in my opinion, and these United players that want to get out of the club, like get out of the club. Then like, you're doing PR and saying, yeah, I don't want to come back, but
Yeah.
I don't see much movement.
I just don't think there's that much interest with these players, bro. Given their performances, I think Anthony and Real Betis is really close. I think they really want him to come back because obviously he's had a good time there. I think the problem there is definitely is the money that he's getting, his salary. So that's up to him, right? If he can agree with them that he's gonna cut it, then fine. But I think he's the only player that left and sort of had a good spell that you can say, yeah,
Rashford had a
obviously.
good spell at Aston Villa, man.
Yeah, bro, but it was what, five
It
months?
doesn't matter. I think he had a good spell. I think
But Rashford doesn't want to go anywhere but Barcelona, bro. So I think that's completely different. Anyone could come for him, he's made it very clear in the media that his dream is to play with Lamine Yamal. He wants to go to Barcelona,
Okay.
and I think that's where he's holding on to. I don't know if conversation have been like are happening between him, his agent, and the club, but I think Rashford is really keen on. He's been wanting to go there for a while, and I think that's where he wants to go. If that doesn't happen, I think maybe we'll start seeing more chatter around Rashford. But I think his heart is set on Barcelona.
They
My
cut
last year,
pay. So, because look, the first point you made is these players, there's no interest in them because they haven't been performing.
yeah.
I disagree with that. Anthony's been performing. I think Rashford's been performing. I think Garnacho hasn't had the best season. But are you really telling me that no club in Europe is interested in Garnacho because he hasn't been performing?
Garnacho is what, a left winger.
Left winger.
So who do you think, apart from these Italian clubs like us, that definitely can't afford Garnacho anyways? You look at maybe Arsenal need a left winger in the Premier League. I'm looking at Man City definitely don't, and they probably wouldn't buy Garnacho anyways. Chelsea's got way too many players, but I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea bought him anyways. So that's always a possibility.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But then, who needs? You look at Europe now, and what club needs Garnacho apart from, as we said, the Italian clubs that they always need players.
If we look at Europe as a whole, we look at Germany, right? And I don't really know what formation Dortmund play with, but they just sold Gittins to Chelsea. He's a left winger, right? And that's and then obviously Bayern Munich, they're not shy of wingers, but they're looking at Rafael Leao.
They're looking at left wingers.
Yeah. So that's.
But I think they want to bring someone. Not to say that Garnacho is, as you said, he hasn't really had a good season. Yeah. I think they want to go with someone that
a more established name, which is fair enough. But I'm just saying the teams that potentially. So we've got some German teams. We look at France. PSG definitely do not need a left winger. But then we look at Marseille, who are going to be in the Champions League. We look at Monaco, who just brought in Pogba and Ansu Fati. Right? We look at Italy. Pretty much every team in Italy would benefit from having him as a left winger. We look at Spain. We look at teams like Sevilla. We look at So there is a market for Garnacho, I believe.
But then I don't think Garnacho will go to a Marseille, to a Monaco, to a Sevilla, and even in Italy, realistically, I don't even think he'll go to AC Milan. I think he'll go to a Juventus, or Inter Milan. I don't know if Inter Milan are interested in a player like that, but I think his expectation of also where he wants to go from now maybe needs to go down. Do you know what I mean? Because yes, there might be interest, but as a player, you're only gonna go somewhere where you believe that it makes sense. Obviously, as I said, if you want to play, you play. But if I was Garnacho, I wouldn't go to a Monaco. I wouldn't go to a Marseille. Obviously, I don't know where he's thinking of playing and what his expectations are. But then I think the move also has to make sense to the player. Not so much, obviously financially as well, but not so much like happy to cut your wage, whatever. Like a Napoli, right now, if Napoli comes for him, I'd go. But do you know what I mean? Like, yes, fair enough, there might be interest, but is it the right interest?
Well, my point is, if you're gonna be making so much noise about the fact that you want to leave, you're gonna be respectful to the club, then like you're silly if you haven't thought this through. You know what I'm saying? Like that's literally that's why I'm saying that I don't rate their movements. Like you're talking a lot, saying you want to leave, you're doing the most, you're wearing Aston Villa top, but then so what are you gonna do now? Like, what are you gonna?
I don't even think that's that. I don't even think that's that deep. I don't know why.
To be fair, the media.
But I hear it. But I feel like Garnacho, ever since the Europa League final, he said, "Bro, like I'm cutting. Like you played me every single game before the final, then you don't start me in the final." He wasn't happy with that. He said, "I'm cutting." Oh, like we'll see what happens in the summer, you know. With Sancho, it's a difficult one. I feel like you don't need to say you want to leave because everyone knows you're leaving, and it makes it a lot easier in the sense of we know you want to leave. Maybe you still haven't got the interest that you want, but you know you want to leave. I agree in the sense that coming out and saying I want to leave is a bit crazy. But is it really crazy in today's football world to say I want to leave this club? I don't know, bro.
I just feel like if you do want to leave a football club, then you should be willing to take a step down, to take a wage cut, and to make it happen. But you just making a PR fuss saying, "Yeah, I'm going to leave." But for example, you look at Garnacho, I'll be like, "Okay, cool. So what are you going to do then? Are you going to go to a lesser team? Are you gonna take a mad wake up? Are you like what are you gonna do? You're okay, you wanna leave, but are you not gonna play football? You know? Or are you just saying that and then you're gonna sit on the bench and then when your contract's done and you can't like it would be great to get a bit more clarity from these players that are saying they want to leave, but it'll
It's
be.
just as bad management on the club
But
though
I
as well.
also agree with that heavily. I agree
You
with
know
that
what I mean?
heavily.
Like, what other club can you see like 5 players coming out to say, "Oh, they just like time to go for us to cut"? I think United is just a shambles. The players are shambles.
Agreed.
Um, yeah.
I
If
agree.
they can get rid of them, it'll be good because the wages that these men are on are not small, bro. And then they'll, since this lot on saving mode and they're trying to save as much money as they can, that'll be good for them. But I think by the end of the transfer window, I do think Rashford is going to leave. I think Garnacho is going to leave. I'm not sure about Sancho and Anthony, what will happen there. But I think Rashford and Garnacho will definitely be gone.
Makes a lot of sense, man. We've been speaking about the English boys for a while. Let's pivot into Serie A and AC Milan, man. You know, the signing of Ricci has given me a 10% more hope. I'm still not really that convinced, but I think when you look at the market, when you look at the Italian players, there isn't that much talent. And we're linked to Leone as well, which is a very promising centre back from Parma.
From Parma, that's the guy that I was told you about, bro. Really, very good player.
Yeah. We're linked to
I
Leone.
think Inter linked to him as well.
Inter want
Obviously,
him as well.
He played under Kivu.
Inter.
He's a good player, bro.
Yeah. So I'm saying maybe Tare and Allegri, maybe they know what they're doing all along. I don't know. Rich is gonna be learning from Modric. I don't know. And I feel like in Serie A, apparently we're shooting for the Scudetto. I'm not convinced. But what I will say is that in Serie A, it doesn't take that much of a midfield to win a Scudetto. If we look at Inter with Barella, Çalhanoğlu, Mkhitaryan, we look at Napoli with Zambinguisa, Labotka, and Scott McTominay, and obviously Billy Gilmore. I'm saying what? We got Ricci, Modric, Fofana, Loftus-Cheek. I don't know. Can we push? Can we push?
I don't think so. I think so, honest, bro. But Richie was a good signing. I think it was what 25 mil. Can't be mad at that. I didn't want to spend 40 on a player like that. We had this conversation before. So for 25 mil, that's a very good signing. He's a young player. As I said, the Italian talent at the moment is not great. So if you can get him for that price, I have to respect it. Allegri, I do like. I'll have to see, man, because I'm looking at this Napoli team, bro, and I don't know if you've seen, they're very close to signing Noah Lang. They're
Is
very
he
close
good
to.
though? Is he good though? Is he good though? Come on, man.
I like him.
He's
Whoever's gonna do
explosive.
well,
You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not
whoever's
better than
gonna do
Kvaratskhelia.
well. I know, but like they also looking to sign what's his name from Bologna, the guy from Switzerland, the
Yeah,
Ndoye, and I think he's good.
he's
I think
good.
he's a baller. They're just building, obviously, because they're in the Champions League as well. You can see that they won those movements, and also like, bro, like De Bruyne. We've seen what Scott has done in the Serie A. That they're building a team. Not just an 11, but even a big squad essentially. And we done obviously because we're only gonna be competing in the Serie A.
That's the
We
thing.
need big of a squad. Not really.
That's the thing.
We need a strong 11 and maybe a couple of players in the bench that can come in and just in case you get injuries and stuff. I think
You're
Inter.
coming.
I'm having a night today. I think Inter are not going to be in the conversation for the Scudetto. I'll be honest.
I agree.
So it's between Napoli. Well, to be fair, Inter will be in the conversation because it's between Napoli, Inter, us, Juventus. Atalanta. Gosh. Oh, they lost their manager.
Atalanta, there's going to be a lot of changes at Atalanta, man.
Yeah.
Atalanta without Gasperini, I don't know. I'll be honest. Atalanta without Gasperini. And I see that Milan is heavily linked with chasing this Swiss player called Jashari, Arden
Yeah, I
Jashari.
saw that. Yeah.
And I didn't know much about him, still don't know much about him. The few things I've seen, though, are giving me quite a lot of hope. And I see that Dortmund actually also went for him, but he publicly said, I only want to go to Milan, which makes me like him a little bit more as well. And if Dortmund are linked for a player, they usually know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't know. They're convincing me just a little bit more. I'm an optimist. I don't think we're going to win the league. And I don't expect to win the league, but I expect to go on a bit of a title run. I expect to maybe the first 10 games be there in the top 3, get me dreaming a little bit, and then we fall off after a while. I don't expect us to be 7th. I do expect us to go back in the Champions League, and then hopefully not be 20 points away from the winner. That's all I want from this season as an AC Milan fan.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. I mean, I'm hopeful because I think new manager, fresh faces. You know, he's been at the club before. He's done well with us. The players should be excited, and the players should want to do well. You know, to and you never know. You know, we might be in the Scudetto race. Manyan might feel like maybe there's a project here. He might sign and stay. You know, so maybe we can become a bit more stable, as you said.
Absolutely. Can you? I saw that AC Milan this week might make 75 million because Malik Thiaw is close to going to Como.
How do you feel about that?
It's a good question. 50-50.
I wouldn't sell him. Is that he's got a mistake in him? Don't get me wrong, he does. But he's a young player, new manager. I don't know, man. I wouldn't sell him. I do like him.
Something has to give though. We got Tomori.
Get rid of Pavlovic already.
We just bought him, bro. Then they really believe in him, Pavlovic. I also don't think he's the best.
The only thing I like about him that he plays with heart.
Yeah,
But sometimes it's too rushed.
I agree.
Play with heart, but chill. You
I
know what
agree.
mean?
I agree. If we sell Thiaw to get Leone, I'm good.
Yeah, fair enough. But if you don't replace
If
him,
we don't replace
or
him,
you replace him with someone
50-50,
not,
then I agree. Then I agree. So
you know what I
it's
mean?
going to be on what happens after that.
Yeah.
Como is also getting Morata. What they get?
Yeah, no, come on, dude. Like, they're making moves. I'm not gonna lie.
Come
Obviously, I don't think Morata is gonna do well. I'll be honest, but he's gonna play with Fabregas. You know,
Nico Paz behind him.
he's gonna play under Fabregas. You know, Nico Paz. I like what Como did. You know, Como's very close to Milan as well.
Bro, we should go to a Como game.
Yeah, have you seen the stadium where it
Looks crazy, bro.
No, yeah, we do need to go.
Como Stadium looks crazy by the lake. Yo,
Yeah,
we need
it's
to go to
crazy.
a Como game, man.
It's crazy.
So yeah, that's really been interesting. And then Juve signed Canadian striker Jonathan David.
You're not convinced by that.
I'm not convinced because
I think he's a good striker, man. I think he's had a good season. I'm surprised they let him. Obviously, his contract ran out, but I'm surprised they let him go on a free. I think that's a bit of a mistake. I'm not gonna lie. In the striker market, there's not that much going on. If you think about it, really, you know, you got Gyökeres, you got Sesko. Those are the two that are like sort of going. But to lose a striker on a free, obviously, they're not saying he's in the same conversation as these guys, but it's probably the best next thing that you can get on a free as well.
on
I
a
don't think
free.
it's a bad move.
To
I
be
don't
fair,
think
they
it's a
did
bad
get him on a
move.
free, which is I don't necessarily think it's a bad move. I just don't necessarily rate him. And I wonder what Juve's trying to do because I saw people in the comments were saying he's going to be second fiddle. Vlahovic, people don't know if he's staying or leaving. Colomwani is going to be hard to get him because PSG is asking for a lot of money. So I kind of hear it. I just don't really rate him. I kind of see him like Timothy Weah, where like he kind of looked like a baller a little bit when he played in France, and then in Italy he hasn't done pretty much anything.
Yeah.
And I can't.
I think Juventus are really going through it, man.
Yeah.
I can't lie, bro.
Yeah.
I really don't know what the plan is. I also don't know if they're going to keep that manager, you know.
Tudor, he's staying.
He's staying.
Tudor's staying, man, and it.
I expect nothing from Juventus next year.
I agree. Keenan Yildiz is like obviously their big star, but Juve and also in the Club World Cup, you know, they're a steady Eddie side. I think they beat two teams that they should have beat. They got smoked by PSG. Sorry, smoked by Man City. They had a good first half against Real Madrid, but Real Madrid I don't think they're in their best place anyway, and they still got beat.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm not really Juve fans. Let me know what you guys are thinking at the moment. Are you optimistic? Are you pessimistic? I'm not really rating it. You scraped to top four, right?
Champions League
Yes, you
next
got
year.
Champions League football, so it's going to be interesting to see. But in this coming season, with hopefully Milan in the top four, Napoli is obviously going to be there. Maybe Juve might fight for it, but I don't know, man. I'm not really rating Juventus at the moment.
Yeah, me neither. I don't know what happened to them, Such a big high for years. And then it's just, I think it was what? Two Champions League finals in 4 years.
They did
They
I
were.
think Juve did the classic Italian football team, which we did as well.
Yeah, you're right.
It's sick, but it's aging, and then at some point you have to revolutionize the whole thing. But then I had Barzai, Bonucci, Chiellini,
Chiellini.
Patrice Evra, Vidal. Like they were all old, and that's what we did back when all the teams. And they didn't really teams like Real Madrid. They replenish really well. Teams even like Man City, like they replenish really well. Whereas with Italian teams, they kind of hang on to their best teams until they're super old, and then they have to
Yeah.
change again.
Yeah, it's true. But also, there's a problem that there's not that much money in Italy.
Mm,
Um, so sometimes it's hard to compete with the big clubs with the big money.
that's true. That's true.
But yeah, I don't know. I've been seeing this thing online that I wanted to ask you. Do you think Sergio Aguero is better or has had a better Premier League legacy than Thierry Henry?
Do I think Sergio Aguero is a better player or has a better legacy than Thierry Henry? I think I have to say no. And the only thing, the first thing that comes to mind when it comes to TT versus Aguero is that invincible season. And Aguero didn't achieve an invincible season. He had
Yeah, but Aguero achieved 100-point season. He did the Aguero biggest moment in Premier League history, really. He went and won the English treble where he won every single trophy that you could win in the Premier League. I mean, I think his legacy is quite big as well. I mean, invincible. Don't get me wrong; it's never been done before. But no team has ever won a league with 100 points. You know, I don't know. I think that invincible team. Actually, I can't. I don't even know if I can say that. I was gonna say that invincible team was stacked with like talent, but that Man City team was also stacked. So
absolutely. It's a
doesn't
close one. It's a close one. If we're talking legacy, I go TT, and also I would go Thierry Henry. Also, just because I feel like Aguero was an incredible finisher, an incredible nine, where
yeah, not an
Henry
overall.
had a bit
Yeah,
more flair to
yeah.
him. So if I had to pick the two, it's a super tight one. I would pick Thierry Henry. What about you?
I don't know, man. I love Aguero, and I think he's very underrated as well. I genuinely think he's underrated. As an overall player, you're right. I think TT has more. But then saying that Aguero could drop in midfield, go past a couple of men and bang it. Like he does create his own chances at times. But I think Thierry is quicker. But then Aguero is both footed, bro. Left foot, right foot. Put me where you want. I'm gonna score. I don't know, bro. I love Aguero, and also I moved to England where Aguero, like at a time where, the first season that I saw live was when Aguero scored that goal to win the Aguero moment. You know what I mean? So, as I said to you all the time, like Thierry was a bit older at the time, so I obviously watched a lot of YouTube videos and old games and stuff, but I just love Aguero. Just the player, and I do think he's underrated, so I'm gonna go on with Aguero.
I love it. Let us know in the comments, man. Who do you think had a better Premier League legacy between Thierry Henry and Sergio Aguero? Something else that I saw was this, and it was a picture of Ibrahimovic with the Champions League, and it said,
No,
"Is Ibrahimovic the greatest player never to win the Champions League?"
he's not.
Thank you. Categorically,
Brazilian Ronaldo didn't win.
R9 never won the Champions League.
You know what I mean?
Guys, let's forget. I know Zlatan never won the Champions League, but R9, the greatest nine ever, didn't win the Champions League. So
I think with Ibrahimovic, he just is so unlucky. You leave Inter Milan, you're Barcelona, yeah. Inter Milan wins it. The year before, Barcelona wins it, and you go, you know what I mean? So you're just so unlucky. But, Ibrahimovic, let's talk about this
Let's talk
because
about Ibra. Let's talk about Ibra.
Ibrahimovic, is he one of the greatest strikers to play the game, in your opinion? Would you put him in the, I don't want to say top five because I don't think, maybe, is he in your top five? In fact, who's your top five greatest strikers ever?
It's a great question. This is quite biased.
Yeah, it would be.
It would be, but in my top five strikers of all time, I have R9.
Yeah,
I have Drogba,
yeah,
which will be a contentious one for sure.
yeah.
I have Samuel Eto'o.
Yeah, I think you're going mad still.
I have Luis Suarez.
Yeah, I do have him as well.
And I have my top five strikers of all time. Damn, that's tough. So I'm going Drogba, Eto'o, because they're African. I need to put some Africans in. I know the comments are going to cuss me for this. Drogba, Eto'o, Suarez, R9, Adriano.
That's crazy, bro. First of all, there's no Lewandowski. Who's arguably probably the greatest goal scorer in our
Is
generation.
Lewandowski better than Harry Kane?
Yes, bro. It is. We're talking striker, bro. I'm not saying overall player. I love the fact that Harry Kane can drop in, assist. This is not what we're talking about. This is talking about greatest strikers.
Yeah. Is Lewandowski better than Harry Kane?
Lewandowski's better than Harry Kane.
Why?
Put some respect on Lewandowski.
Why? What evidence? What data are you using to suggest that Lewandowski is better?
Just let's look at the stats. Look at his goals.
I think they're the same.
No, they're not, man. They're not, bro.
Let me see.
They're not.
Let me try and get out some stats. But in the meanwhile,
Did Lewandowski win the Bundesliga with Dortmund?
maybe.
Harry Kane could never do that for Tottenham.
Bro, well, look at it. Look at it.
Nah, bro, I don't want to hear it,
Look
bro.
at the team that Dortmund had. Okay, I'm trying to get some like head-to-head stats.
Anyways, I'll
Yeah.
tell you mine in the meantime.
Yeah.
Lewandowski definitely has to make that list. Yeah, he's not number one anyway. But
But
R9,
five strikers, yeah.
I'll just give you the five. This is not.
No,
So
but
Lewandowski makes that. R9 definitely makes that for me. Suarez has to make that. Benzema also has to make that. Although it's hard with Benzema because he only did it after Cristiano Ronaldo left Barcelona.
Agreed.
But then what he's achieved, he won a Ballon d'Or. I have to give it to him. And who am I missing? So I said R9, Lewandowski, Suarez, Benzema. Does Rooney count as a striker?
Who?
Rooney?
Yeah.
So I might have to add Rooney in there.
But was Rooney better than Mbappe?
Mbappe's not a 9. He's only a 9 now, though.
He's 29 for France, man.
Yeah, I know, but like when I first saw Mbappe, I don't know if I classify him as a 9. Also, I can't say now, I can't give it to Mbappe now, just yet. Rooney has done a lot, though, in his career. So I have to respect the history behind it. So in 5 years' time, if you ask me, or when he ends his career, then I'll be able to answer that. But I can't answer that now.
It's tough. It's tough. The number 9 thing is really the top 5. What we can both agree is that Ibrahimovic is not
No, it's not.
in the top percentage of strikers ever. Ibrahimovic had great charisma and has a very unique way of playing football. And look, as an AC Milan fan, I'm a big fan of Ibrahimovic, even though in management he's rubbish. But as a player, loved Ibrahimovic. Came back, helped us win the league, but he's not in that conversation. But when it comes to, let us know in the comments, if you are watching this, who is in your top 5 strikers all time? I'm looking at this list right now and I'm like,
What is the, have you got ChatGPT open?
oh, I got ChatGPT.
Ask
right here.
ChatGPT.
That-
But then they might bring back some old names, bro.
Yeah,
But anyway, ask them anyway.
because ChatGPT might say like Pele.
Yeah, which was a
Do
striker.
you know what I'm trying to say? So I know
Yeah,
ChatGPT. Who is in your top 5 strikers of all time? Do your
yeah. I think that's hard because he's gonna
research.
go back. He's
Exactly.
probably gonna say Di Stefano was a striker, wasn't he? So he's gonna.
Van Basten and that.
Yeah,
So should we say since the 2000s?
yeah.
And tell me a
Well, do 1990s because yeah, since 1990s.
yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, let's see. Hey, this is who ChatGPT says since the 90s is in the top 5 strikers of all times. Number 1, guess who they said?
R9.
No,
What?
Lionel Messi.
He's not a striker.
ChatGPT knows nothing. Number 2, guess who they said?
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah. Number 3, guess who they said?
Lewandowski.
Number 4, guess who they said?
Come on. Number 4 Suarez.
No, you mentioned him.
Benzema.
Benzema. And number 5, guess who they said?
Ibrahimovic.
No.
Who?
Erling Haaland.
Thing is, yeah. I mean, he scored like 300.
I
You
know.
know what I mean? But just to say, I think
Ah, no. Your screen's gone again, bro. Ah, what's happening here? JK's signal's gone. In the meanwhile, I will hold it down. And I'll say, ChatGPT said, Honorable JK, by the way, I can't hear you, I can't see you. ChatGPT said honorable mentions to Luis Suarez, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Edinson Cavani, Sergio Aguero, Wayne Rooney. Very, very interesting. Yo, JK, what's going on there? If JK is not back within the next minute, we will end the episode. But let us know in the comments, who do you think is in the top 5 strikers of all times? On that note, JK's gone. It's been an hour, so we're gonna call it. It's been amazing having you guys once again. See you next week for another episode of the Curva Chronicles. It's been your boy F17. JK is off, but he's always here. Take care.